Hello and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, I love motherboards. I know that's kind of weird to say, but it's true. And a dream of mine is to create my own motherboard one day. It will have glitter or just something really fancy to it. I felt like for a really long time, motherboards were just very boring. I think a lot of you can agree. The PCBs were generally a really ugly green, sometimes gray or black. Actually, when they started to make black PCBs, I feel like it was kind of an exciting time. Thankfully, these days, motherboard companies are kind of branching out a little bit, baby steps, and customizing their motherboards to look a little sleeker, maybe have a little bit more design, just a little bit more unique. Now that case manufacturers are going the way of full panel windows, like the NZXT S340 Elite behind me, very beautiful case, wonderful full glass window, a side panel, tempered glass, so it gives you a very nice look into your computer. If your motherboard is kind of blah, it kind of makes the window irrelevant. So we like to decorate the inside of our cases with RGB, maybe a nice CPU cooler, if you're really fancy, water cooling of course. So that brings us to the motherboard, one of the most important components in the computer. So why have motherboard manufacturers not made them even cooler and fancier? There are, of course, reasons. I'm sure cost is a reason. Obviously, PCBs are found in probably almost every electronic. They're kind of necessary, so they're definitely manufactured in great quantity, I would assume. Not that I really know anything about that. But when we fill our computers with components, a lot of times they'll cover the motherboard and you won't really be able to see. So I'm actually using the motherboard that's in my lap right now in a new build that hopefully will not cover the motherboard, because this motherboard it's pretty cool. I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, but it's just nice to see something a little different. Of course, a lot of people are going the route of all white motherboards because that is unique, and that is for sure unique and cool, and I love it. And I'm excited to see more of those. Let's just say this is a combination of a black and white motherboard. And black and white builds are pretty common. I think gamers just like that black and white classy aesthetic. Me as well. So that is going to be the theme of my upcoming build. Depending on when I post the videos, you might have already seen it. So I went on a hunt for a motherboard that would fit this theme, and this motherboard appeared. It is a brand new motherboard. It does have the new chipset, so it was exactly what I was looking for, exactly what I wanted, and I'm very excited to show you all today. I hope you share in my excitement. As you can see, I'm just really excited about this motherboard. I don't know what it is, but I feel like motherboard manufacturers have to keep going. Sky's the limit. Let's make more PCBs that are more interesting. We just have to push them to do it. So if we use the ones that they're already doing and testing these new designs on, then I'm sure they will make some more for us and prevent me from painting my own, which has been on the horizon. I really want to paint a motherboard. I know people on YouTube do it. I know it's possible. I know it's also possible to completely destroy the motherboard and who knows what other components, but it's probably gonna happen. And it may include glitter, if I can figure out how to do all that. Anyway, I went off in a little rant. So without further ado, my new motherboard to go into my new build is going to be a wonderful MSI motherboard. It is from their Krait Gaming series. It is a Z270, so fully overclockable. And I'm very excited about this motherboard. As you can see, like I said, the PCB has a very unique kind of design to it. I don't know if you would call that stripes or maybe scratch. As you can see, their kind of logo is of a scratch mark, so I'm sure that's kind of what they're going for. And I can show you the actual motherboard. It's obviously not in here, this box is really light. But the motherboard itself is a little bit heavier. So, here's hoping I don't drop it. This is the motherboard. Tell me you guys aren't excited about this. Is it just me? Like, literally? I love it so much. MSI, woo! It's so pretty. I am so excited. They really did a good job. So obviously it's black and white, if you couldn't tell. It has that design embedded on the PCB. You can definitely tell that it is painted because you don't see the traces as you do sometimes on motherboards. They're covered, so I'd be very interested to know exactly the method of doing that. I know that's not gonna happen, but there are some other great features about this motherboard as well. You can see the steel armor that they use on the DIMM ports, and they also use that on the M.2 ports. So love that the look has a nice kind of shiny, strong look on the ports. I don't know how you want to say that, but very nice. The back panel. So not only is this aesthetically a great board, but honestly, I'm excited about the upgrades on this board as well. I've used MSI boards before, never from one of their gaming series or their gaming series. I think they have another line, but definitely never a Krait Gaming motherboard. So this will be my first. Also, let me show you the back. This is nutty. What? Why would they make the back this nice? The only thing I can think is for the few cases that have a side panel, a full window side panel on both sides of the case. But a lot of times this portion of the motherboard is blocked by the actual case. So, and all you see is the CPU bracket. So who knows what that means for maybe case manufacturers? Can we do a little bit more to show off the back of our motherboards? Dang, I'm really excited. This thing is legit. I hope it functions as well as it looks. Anyway, so I do want to go over the actual upgrades that they've made to this motherboard. So I'm just gonna kind of run down the things they mentioned on their website that either stood out to me or are, I think, are pretty awesome. And then in my next video or previous video, depending on the order you watch these, I'm going to put this in a new build, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. You guys excited? Yeah. So because this is a Z270 board, that does mean it supports 6th generation Intel processors with a BIOS update and obviously the new 7th generation Kaby Lake processors. So I am going to be putting a 7th generation Kaby Lake processor. You can see that in the build video, which processor I use and why. This motherboard also supports a DDR4 RAM, of course, just like the Z170 boards did. So MSI motherboards also have something called DDR4 boost. I kind of dug a little deeper because just saying it has DDR4 boost, you can say, oh, that's cool, no idea what it is, but the ambiguity implies that it's awesome. Well, yeah, probably, but is it really awesome? One aspect of DDR4 boost is something called direct connection. That just means that there are no components between the CPU and the memory slots that could cause interference. It's kind of common sense and it's kind of normal. I think the memory slots are always near the CPU. I don't know if I've ever seen a component in between them, but they do call that a feature. One aspect you can say that is good about this is that the traces from the memory slots to the CPU are shorter because they are so near and that there are no components in between. Well, duh, shorter traces of course mean a better connection, less interference, less opportunity for signal drop or signal loss, and who knows what else. Okay, so that's good. The interesting thing about traces is that a lot of times you will see them etched into the actual PCB on the motherboard, but a lot of times they're actually inside the PCB. So don't go drilling your motherboard, because it's very likely that you're going to hit some traces and completely damage your motherboard. It could happen. Another feature of the MSI board with DDR4 boost is something called a fully isolated memory circuit. MSI explain that on their website as a PCB within a PCB that's separated by a mode. So there's just a dividing factor between the PCB that the memory slots are on and the PCB that I guess everything else is on. It reduces interference. And a final major feature of the DDR4 boost feature is that it utilizes optimized routing procedure. What does that mean? I mean, literally, you're going from the memory slots to the CPU. How much more optimized can you get? It's a straight line. Well, you're wrong if you think that. And that is because the PCB is made up of resin and fiberglass. The fiberglass weaves together and the resin kind of fills the holes to keep it all together. The traces that connect the components will travel along the fiberglass, ideally. If they travel along the resin, you're hitting holes of fiberglass pretty much, because you're looking at it like fabric, right? The fiberglass has rows of fabric that weave together both vertical and horizontally, and then the resin is in all the little gaps where the fabric intertwines, if that makes sense. So you ideally want the traces to go along the lines in the fiberglass. If they go along the lines where the fiberglass is like this, you're hitting those resin holes. Of course, that is not good. It's not a solid signal. Who knows what could happen? Interference. I'm not that technical, so I'm sure bad things happen. And in fact, it has a name, and it is called the fiber weave effect. And there are papers all over the internet about how reducing the fiber weave effect can improve the signal in various applications and uses, so that's a good thing. And MSI has included this on their DDR4 boost boards by allowing the traces to zigzag through the fiberglass to get on as much of the fiberglass as possible and kind of avoid the resin holes. Another feature of this board is that it is VR ready, and it has a VR boost. I am not a VR enthusiast yet. I just haven't gone that direction. It doesn't really appeal to me, maybe one day. But if you are, this board does have ports specifically stated to reduce motion sickness. Honestly, I don't even know if that's possible, if a USB port can reduce motion sickness, but apparently it's supposed to make the signal smoother. If anybody has used this and can confirm that, please let me know, because I'd be really interested, and I really don't want to spend like $1,000 on a VR system just to test this port to see if motion sickness lessens. It's a pretty big claim though, I would think, because motion sickness is definitely a thing in VR. It's one of the reasons why I stay away from it. So I don't know if it's an actual thing or not, but the ports on the back of the back panel of the motherboard are specifically for VR. So if you saw when I was pointing out the actual ports on the motherboard, you did see that there are two M.2 ports. Very cool. This motherboard says that it supports twin turbo M.2, and it has steel armor. So yeah, you can see the steel armor on that, but the twin turbo part got me a little interested. What does that mean? It means that you can actually put two NVMe SSDs into the M.2 ports and put them in RAID 0, and that will boost performance of the actual drives, because if you're familiar with RAID, combining the drives does help with the performance of the drives and data reading and writing, because there is just more physical drive to do the work. I'm sure there are many people in the comments that know way more about RAID than I do, and it's very possible that one day I will put two drives into the M.2 slots to test out RAID 0 just to see. I have been trying very hard to get my hands on the Samsung N60 Pro drives that were recently released, but they are really hard to find. Samsung, please make some more. I don't know why it's so hard to find them. I think just people are really excited. I do have an N50, that's not even a thing, 950 Samsung Pro in this computer, but even that one was really hard to find. So in my new build, I'm just going with a regular old SSD. You'll see it, or you did see it, whatever. One day we'll put these drives in RAID and we'll see if it's worth it. However, if you do want to know more about RAID and storage and hard drives and SSDs, and M.2 slots and all of it, I do highly recommend going and reading any article written by Alan at PC He knows what he's talking about. Every time I have anything and I want to look at, I feel like he has written something about it. One other thing I do want to mention is that this motherboard does have a application software, I don't know what to call it, all of the above, called M.2 Genie, that will help you put your drives in RAID. So when I do eventually go that route, I will definitely be using this MSI board or a future MSI board that has that M.2 Genie, just to kind of see if it actually does make it easier and if it does improve performance and benchmarks and reading and writing and all that glorious stuff comes with storage benchmark testing. So this motherboard, in case you couldn't see when I was holding up the back panel, it has a lot of USB ports, and that is because it has a lot of USB ports. And that is because obviously USB is kind of all over the place right now. You have USB 2.0, you have USB 3.0, which is now USB 3.1 Gen 1, and then you also have USB 3.1 Gen 2, which have different form factors in A and C. So this motherboard actually has all of those options. Thank you, MSI, just in case we weren't confused enough. Now we had to figure out which one's which. So they are, I mean, it's pretty obvious which ones are which, obviously. The black USB ports are the 2.0. The blue ones, there are 4 of them, are the 3.1 Gen 1. And then the gold-plated ones are the USB 3.1 Gen 2, both in A and C form factors. I mean, that's pretty cool because you have USB 3.1 Gen 1, which will be 5 gigabytes per second, but then you also have the USB 3.1 Gen 2 that goes up to 10 gigabytes per second. Back in the day when I was first building computers, we always had to put sound cards into our builds. These days, and in fact, probably in the past 5+ years, I haven't put a sound card in any of my builds. I do have an original Sound Blaster Creative Audigy 2, something like that, in one of my old computers that I can't part with. But honestly, onboard sound on motherboards has gotten so good that it's just kind of not necessary anymore. You can see on this motherboard, it does have a Audio Boost 4 chip that is for onboard sound. So thank you, MSI. The Z170 board did have Audio Boost 3. This is Audio Boost 4. One of the reasons why the onboard sound on motherboards, specifically this motherboard, is better is because it does have a separate zone on the PCB that's specifically designated for the sound chip. You can't see it on this motherboard, but on the Z170 you could actually see a red line around the Audio Boost 3, kind of pointing out that it was on its own PCB portion to kind of reduce audio interference. Same thing with all the other components where they put it on its own separate platform. So I pointed out the PCI ports and PCI Express ports. You can see that there are 3. That means it will support SLI with 2 NVIDIA graphics cards, and it will support 3 Crossfire. It will support 3 AMD cards in Crossfire. And actually, while I do have it up, all 3 of these PCI Express ports are 16X. So that's cool. Now, as if we hadn't had enough RGB, I know, it's not for everybody. But if you are wanting to go full RGB and you want to go really crazy, this motherboard does come with a specific header and software, even phone apps that can control the lighting of your build, including any 12-volt LED strip that you can get from like Amazon and plug it in. This will control it. So that's kind of cool. It'll sync it so that you have the same color theme you can control with an app on your phone. Have not tried it, so I can't really speak to it, along with like everything else on this board that I mentioned. Oh, did you also notice? Man, I keep picking this up. Every time I pick it up, there's a chance of me dropping it. But it has a PS2 support. Yay, that's cool. So if you have a PS2 keyboard or mouse, you can plug it in there. I have not used the PS2 mouse or keyboard in many, many years, probably over 10. But it's there if you do use it. All right, well that concludes my, I don't want to say review, I don't know, my discussion, my talk, my diatribe about this motherboard from MSI. I'm super excited to share my build with you. Like I said, if you've already watched it, thank you so much for watching it. If you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. Leave comments below if you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, nice things to say. If you have anything mean to say, you can leave that out. I'm okay with that. But if you like the video, leave a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these, definitely let me know. I honestly have no idea how I'm gonna take this channel, but I really love talking about motherboards, specifically ones that kind of break the mold. So maybe that's the direction I'm gonna go. We'll see. Hopefully I'll be coming out with another build not too long. I really like doing them. I really like talking about technology, and I really like interacting with you guys. So follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. Here, feel free to subscribe to see future videos, and thank you so much for watching this video and hanging out with me, and just your overall presence. Thank you.